Have you ever felt hopeless, overwhelmed, anxious, or depressed? I was talking to a friend the other day who told me a story, and he said that he had this thought that came through his mind as he was in the shower. Actually, this thought horrified him. And the thought was this, that his family would be better off if he was not around. And that's the first time he's ever had those thoughts. Life has been hectic, and life has been very demanding of him. Ministry is not going as well as he hoped it would go. So he's really just struggling. And for the very first time, he had these thoughts that, man, if I was gone, my family would be in a better place. Unfortunately, that's not uncommon. According to the Pew Research report, like 74% of all pastors struggle with the anxiety, hopelessness, depression each and every day. It's like 82% of all pastors are so stressed out to the max that they're considering leaving the ministry altogether. There's a number that I think a lot of us are aware of. That number is 22. Do you know the number 22? 22 is well known because it is a number that 22 military veterans commit suicide each and every single day. But according to the Barna report, there's a group that actually is as far behind them, but in their second place, it's a group that you would not even think about. It's pastors. There are 11 pastors that commit suicide each and every single day. Pastors! Can you get that? Pastors. We're supposed to be people. I mean, even if you take the pastor labor off of it, if you're a Christian, you are supposed to be a person of hope and joy and peace. You are supposed to be a person that knows that no matter what happens in this world, there is another reality, and that reality is heaven with Jesus. But yet we have pastors, 11 pastors each and every day, who are committing suicide because they've lost their hope, because they've lost their peace, because they've lost their joy, because the ministry is extremely hard and they find themselves alone, they find themselves depressed, they find themselves burned out, they find themselves just being bombarded with negativity that no matter what they do, they're never right. And so for 11 pastors each and every day, they think, man, this world would be a better place without me. Listen, I'm a pastor, been in ministry for over 20 years, and I want to tell you this, that if you've ever struggled with anxiety or depression or hopelessness, well, number one, in ministry, you'll reach places where you can't function. You're like, I don't even know how I'm going to go move forward beyond this. And this is why it's important for us to get on our knees and seek the Lord and let Him carry our burdens. It's also important for us to put in healthy boundaries. It's important for us, when we begin to feel like we're hopeless, to find the help and get the help that we need. It's important for us to do things like take care of ourselves. It's important for every single pastor to actually take a Sabbath. I don't care how big or how small your church is. The Lord told us that we are supposed to take a Sabbath. And that is not like, hey, when you have time, that is a demand. You must take time out of your week to unplug and unwind and to relish in the presence of the Lord. You have to do that. And so here's what I want to tell you, that if you are struggling with anxiety, depression, or hopelessness, if you are just overwhelmed with all the stress in life, you're like, I don't know how I balance life. I don't know how I do ministry and be a husband or a wife and take care of my kids, and how do I go to all their events, and I got everybody in my church expects me to be everywhere at the same time, at the same place. They want me to be superhero. They want me to answer the phone at 3 o'clock in the morning, no matter what's going on in my life. If you are struggling, reach out to me. I'm a ministry coach. I'm a pastor as well, and I work with pastors and ministry leaders, and I help them reduce the stress in their life so that they can thrive at home and in their church. And if you're really, truly struggling, you're like, I don't even know. I can't handle this anymore. Listen. Reach out to me. I would love to just even have a conversation with you. Not to charge you for work, but just to sit down and hear you and to be able to pray with you. God has called you. If you're a pastor, then God's called you to point his people towards Jesus. And so he needs people like you and like me to endure, to not lose hope, to not give up, to not say this place would be a better world without me, and to continue to fight for what is right, to continue to pour into him, and to continue to point others towards Jesus. Pastor, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for everything that you do. I know it is a job that many people do not respect or understand, or they just take you for granted. I want to say thank you for all that you do for the kingdom of God. Thank you for pointing people towards Jesus in the good times and the regular times and in the bad times. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for loving Jesus so much that you want others to love him too.